is it?
The shade.
Oh, man. You can't see? Yeah, it's blinding, isn't it? It's right at you. Right at you.
Okay, we're up.
Good evening and welcome to the regular council meeting for October the 17th. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We have a quorum this evening, and I'm not sure if Lloyd will be calling in or not. He's got a family issue that he's dealing with. Well, would you give the invocation, please?
Yes. Please stand. Everybody join me in prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we come before that throne of grace. We ask for your mercy and your guidance and your blessings over this meeting. And as we lead this community forward, that we go forth with the neighbors, friends, and Lord, maybe in the future we get some rain as we're awful dry. Just guide and lead us always, Lord, and we're thankful for all that you've done for us. In His name we pray, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So you said we have no communications from the audience. Okay. Consent agendas. Like a motion to approve the minutes from the regular council meeting on August the 15th.
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd like a motion to accept the council special meeting on August the 29th.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Minutes of the special council meeting from September the 12th. I'd like a motion to accept those minutes, please.
I'll make that motion to accept those minutes on the 12th.
All in favor? Oh, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Mayor's report. I'll start with the grants. The $11.4 million extension request has been submitted to GLO so that we can, at some point, begin to move forward with that stuff. Lake Ivanhoe, there's no change. The second submittal was sent to TCEQ on May the 5th. We expected to have a review completed by August the 16th, and that's been followed up with questions and answers. The length of time to get it all done is unknown at this point. Lake Camelot, there's no change. We received notification from TCEQ that construction plans and specs are approved, pending any necessary changes coming from the hydrologic and hydraulic review. That is still under review. Lake Camelot the dam will probably be repaired or rebuilt there prior to the Lake Ivanhoe because things are moving much quicker with that project than with Lake Ivanhoe. Lake Tristan, we're still working on the plans. Structural changes are currently under review. The 300 feet of 5-foot square conduit is proving to be rather costly, and we're looking at alternatives to that. We're stuck with TCEQ requirements, but I found out recently in talking to the project engineer that there may be some changes that we can make to keep it within our budget. Mill Creek, I've been working the last 60 days on an Entergy telephone pole that's in our road right away around Galahad. It's been very aggravating and frustrating. We have a 60-foot right-of-way, and they have a 10-foot right-of-way that goes across our road. And they want to charge us to move their pole 40 feet to a fence line, but I can't get any numbers from them on what the cost will be. They want me to submit an application so that they can generate an invoice, and at which time I will know what the costs are. That does not rest well with me, and I've had our attorneys involved with this. We've asked for additional information from Entergy, and we hope to have that soon. The $7.9 million grant construction on multiple sites is ongoing. Some mods are occurring. An example of that is we're moving from two 36-inch culverts on Ivanhoe Drive in Galahad to three 24-inch to keep the road grade down. If we'd have put in the 36 inches, the buildup for the road would have made the fall off of the shoulder much deeper than it needed to be, or steeper, and potentially dangerous. So we're lowering that, and that's extending, giving us dollars to be used elsewhere. Lakewood, the $1.9 million grant. Contract has been awarded to Elite Construction. We're waiting on the documents to come in from our engineering company to have legal review them. Once they're reviewed, we'll begin to start putting shovels in the ground on that. This is going to be a very interesting project. It's going to go from Camelot Dam to Galahad Dam, and from Galahad Dam to Tristan Dam. They're going to be excavating 4 inches of the they're going to break up everything that's there. They're going to excavate 4 inches of material, come back with fresh limestone, cement, grind it all up, and then come back with, or pack it down and then come back with 2 inches of asphalt. We're going to end up with 150 dump truck loads of good road-based material that will be stockpiling around the city at various places. I've been working with IPOA to find locations where we can save that material to use for other roads and perhaps some of the projects that IPOA is working on. The comprehensive plan, there's nothing to report. The grant administrator is still gathering information. 22nd Street is completed with a few minor repairs. We'll be closing that project out shortly. That was done with bond money. The community development grant, there's a pot of unused monies from Rita and Harvey hurricanes. We had submitted 28th Street last year. In the grading process, we actually came in number 9 out of 20 with points, but we had quite a deduction because we had received monies the year before. We came in 19 out of 20. So there's $136 million that's out there that GLL wants to use. I can't say what they want to use it for, but we're trying to resurrect this 28th Street project because we had already given it to them once before and we scored very well on it. So I'm optimistic there. TCEQ, we submitted the $300,000 grant for Charmaine Dam upgrades and maintenance. We had hoped to hear something back by April. We've heard nothing. Par for the course. It's just Ivanhoe Drive. There was a meeting with between the city with our engineer, our county commissioner, and his project engineer, and his grant administrator. And he's got a grant of $1.2 million that he was going to use on Ivanhoe Drive. We had to stay with Ivanhoe Drive for part of our grant requirements. What's happened is that the time has drug out so long that inflation has eaten up a lot of what we were going to be able to accomplish with the monies that we had. So in our meeting, we coordinated where the city will be rebuilding the road from the highway to Camelot. The county commissioner's grant will then pick up at Camelot and go on Ivanhoe Drive to Charmaine Drive East. If there's monies left in the project from the county, I'm going to try to get them to tie on at Charmaine Drive East and extend it as far as they can. There probably won't be any money. It may be just wishful thinking, but that's the thought process. The city's part of the construction on Ivanhoe Drive has begun. We had detours set up this morning. They were supposed to go in. Originally, it was with two 36-inch culverts. We've reduced that to 3 24-inch culverts because the buildup of the road would have created shoulders that were that were had a large drop-off and was deemed to be costly, unnecessary cost to level the road out and make it potentially dangerous for our residents. So that construction has started. There's been a little bit of confusion. They dug the trench. They didn't have the detour signs out the way they were supposed to. So we had them fill the ditch back in. They'll have to redo that and put the culverts in at some point when they have their act together. Charmaine Dam will remain closed to traffic until sometime this weekend. I said sometime Sunday. If we can open it up Saturday evening late, we will. Sometime before October 28th, Galahad Lake will be lowered to allow the spillway to dry. That is so that we can do the ground penetrating radar on Galahad Dam that we did on Charmaine Dam. That work is scheduled to begin October the 28th. As soon as we're going to try to get them to do the ground penetrating radar on the spillway first so that we can close the valve and get the lake back up to its normal level. And that's about it for now. Chief, you have something from the police department?
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. For the month, we had 28 calls for service. We had 48 traffic stops, 24 citations, 24 warnings, and 3 animal citations were issued for dogs at large after some biting situations had taken place. We did complete our CJIS audit with Department of Public Safety, where they come in and they actually audit everything for our criminal justice information systems. And we are fully compliant, 100%. So we are good for the next 3 years.
Would you explain what CJIS is?
So CJIS is anything that deals with criminal justice information, anything that's confidential related to criminal histories, to our reporting, things like that. We had to have multiple policies put in place, multiple signs put up, firewalling for our computer systems. That way it can't be accessed by outside individuals. So after being audited by them, we are fully compliant 100%.
So that's an FBI.
It is.
It's a federal mandate for the state.
It is, and that's nationwide. Every agency in the state of Texas right now is going through a CJIS audit with the new federal updates. I would imagine within the next 3 years, the update's going to change multiple times to the point that in about 3-4 years, when we get ready to be audited again, there's going to be additional changes, and some of it, unfortunately, is going to be costly. But that's unfortunate. That's something that a lot of agencies across the state are being forced with right now, is some of the changes that are coming down the pipe, and that's more from the Fed side.
Do you have any idea what those costs might be?
Not at the moment. After talking with some of the auditors with DPS, that could include firewall systems to independent servers, things like that. Once we start putting desktop computers in the office, then we could be in a situation where we're looking at our networking and things like that, where everything's going to have to be kept separate. That way we can't even be on the same system with the city itself.
So you would have a separate
we have to be-
server with a cloud that's
Absolutely.
unique and firewalled specifically for the police department.
Correct. Correct. But we can put that in our strategic plan moving forward for the next 3 years. So that gives us a little bit of time on there. The weather is starting to get cooler. Animals are roaming. Be careful. I know I'm noticing a lot more fog in the mornings. I'm usually out here running the streets at 6:30 in the morning. So I've seen several kids sitting in the road area off to the side. I've had conversations with them. If you're leaving that early, just make sure that you're careful when you're paying attention to the kids that are outside. With the fogs coming in, when that cool breeze starts moving, it makes it a little bit harder to see them. So,
Okay.
any questions for me?
One quick question,
Yes.
Chief. Regarding the animal bite situation.
Yes.
What is the process if the owners don't learn the lesson and it continues?
That's kind of a double-edged sword right now, because there's no animal shelter in Tyler County. We have issued citations for those individuals. We'll issue more citations if we need to. In the event that a dog does bite, they're required by law to quarantine those animals for 10 days. And then at some point, we may have to go before a judge and try to get a seizure order based on a dangerous animal. But then that goes back to our problem is we have no place to deal with the animal. We have no place to take the animal.
You know, aggressive animals are a whole
absolutely.
different headache unto their own.
Well, and we've had another situation involving animals, while you're bringing that up, where some individuals had called in saying that there were some animals starving on one road, and they're being abused and neglected. That was a multi-day investigation into that. It went as far up as taking video footage from a neighbor, and PETA got involved. So then I had PETA blowing us up here trying to figure out what we're doing and why we're not doing anything. And
There was also a pig.
absolutely. And so what people in the community don't realize is we can't just go on a property and take somebody's animals right then. There's some investigation has to go into it to find out the story. And I'll give a little backstory on this one. Was the animals were not being neglected. The animals actually had serious heartworm issues. They had been to the vet. They were receiving medications. They had all their shots up to date. They were being fostered. They were trying to be placed with another group to take them. We even tried to get them into a shelter. The thing is we didn't have any legal right to go take the dogs. And so people on Facebook started going different directions with it, and now we have people showing up taking dogs that don't belong to them. And that caused a situation where now we may have to press charges on individuals who don't need charges pressed on them because they're trying to help out when all they did is get in the middle of an investigation that was going on. So just because something comes up and people are posting things on Facebook, don't jump to get involved in the middle of it because it may put you in a bad situation. And in this case here, the pig was placed, the dogs were placed, but they were actually being cared for under a vet's care. They weren't being abused and neglected.
Good to hear.
And so, I mean, even in that case, we'd talk to the animal shelter and they wouldn't even going to be able to take them. All the shelters around are overran right now. It's an unfortunate situation. And really in Tyler County, I hate to say our hands are tied.
But they
are. We're strapped on it. So it's going to be on a case-by-case basis if we can try to get something placed somewhere.
What does the city of Woodville do?
Nothing.
I don't know if they have their own shelter
They
anymore or
don't
not.
they don't have one.
They don't have
do
one
it-
no more?
No.
I know they did at one time.
They
have
did,
an animal
they
control.
don't.
Yeah.
They have an animal control person, I believe, but I guess they don't have a shelter.
No.
But there's not one for Tyler County anywhere that I'm aware of.
Well, they had one out north of town.
Yeah,
They
that,
must have
that's,
closed it.
Well, it's officially but unofficially in operational order. It's sort of a Woodville only in very select circumstances.
Yeah.
It's not anything that's open to anybody outside of Woodville, and it's not anything that they're advertising and dealing with on a large scale level.
The bottom line is they don't have anything.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
So-
They don't have anything that would help us.
Right.
So, you want to recap something about the recovered stolen properties that you've?
We've had a couple of different things. We've recovered a stolen trailer that was actually came out of the Harris County area. So we were able to get a recovery on that and get it back to, well, it's in holding right now, waiting on the Harris County individuals to finish their side and come pick it up. We've recovered a box truck that was stolen out of Las Vegas.
Wow.
And so that's been recovered, and it's in holding, waiting on the owner to come pick it up. These are all fees that'll be paid by them, not by us. So there's some activity that we are involved in. We just don't put that information out there. And I know people get on Facebook and they want to criticize because we are, we're doing, law enforcement has a multifaceted complex of duties. And one of those is traffic control. One of them is investigations. And so there's a lot of things that are working in tandem with each other. And so a lot of the information that we get comes from traffic stops.
Right.
And so,
So there was one case where you, without getting into the details of what the stolen material was, there was an occasion where you drove to Oklahoma City to collect that that
recovery. the
recovery
information.
and brought
Yes.
it back and gave it to the rightful owner.
Correct.
Within Ivanhoe.
Correct. And that was over $30,000 in jewelry.
So there's a lot going on in the world of law enforcement.
Sure. Absolutely. Any other questions?
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you kindly. David Marshall had to go to Lufkin today, so we've gone over most of it. I don't know, I don't have the specifics on the work orders on the streets, but we've talked about the dam, both dams, all the dams. So moving on to item 4, Ms. Williams, Planning and Zoning.
Planning and zoning's collecting more data to be able to find out where we need to put it or if we need to make a new ordinance before they bring it to the rest of us. So they're still in process.
So don't know what it, don't, it's premature to talk about what it is. Okay, that's fine. I appreciate that. I respect that. Mr. Gregory, Tyler County Appraisal District.
No report at this time, Mayor.
Okay. Item 6, the county established a burn ban. I was able to make the declaration for 7 days. What I would like to do is to get council's approval to extend it to coordinate the lifting of the ban in concert with Tyler County.
I also move that we extend the burn ban in tandem with the county burn ban.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. That makes it easy on all of us because I don't have to call a special meeting. All right, now then. Okay. I lost my notes here. Submission, discuss, approve, disapprove submission of the completed application to Texas Department of Energy Management for the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Assistant Grant Funds.
Yes, that's the Hurricane Beryl and April Towers grant fund.
So I need to be able to sign those documents.
And this is for approval for us to go, yes,
Oh, this is approval to go after those.
I make a motion that we grant the mayor permission to seek the the funding from the Texas Department of Emergency Management and FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Funds.
Second?
Can we have a little discussion?
Sure, absolutely.
So the 25% matching funds, do we have a sense of what the grant's for? Is it, what's our exposure to the matching funds?
You're the wrong line.
Well, that's the next one because this is just to be able to go after that.
Oh, okay.
So, well, I have a motion and
There's a motion on the floor.
we'll talk about that on the next one.
It wasn't
Understood.
second.
I'll withdraw my comment.
Pardon me?
So if you want, y'all can go in opposite order.
Okay. So the 25% match, like with the grant that I'm going after for Charmaine Dam is $300,000. There was quite a bit more. There was $86 million out there in that pot, but because it was a 30% match, I backed into the number based on what I thought we could afford in matching funds. That's how I came up with the $300,000 number for the amount of grant money I was going to go after. So the same thing would apply with this.
So we don't have a number that we're applying for today? We're just giving you the authority to go after it, to apply for it?
Correct. We don't even know what the number is.
Okay.
But whatever it is, our portion will be a 25% match.
And of course, that would come back before council before we submit the application, so
Oh,
we would
yeah.
have that number before we submit it.
Absolutely.
So I maintain my motion to give the mayor approval to seek the Texas Department of Emergency Management and FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant funding.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So this is granting me the ability to be the authorizing signatory for going after that application for the above-mentioned grant and authorizing us to commit 25% to the matching funds. We'll have to find the money in the budget to be able to do that. The way these things go, it's going to be a couple of years at the soonest.
I guess we have to do another, we have to do the second as a second option, as a second.
No, this gives me the authority to sign those documents to go after the grants.
Okay.
And it will most likely be another budget year of which we would have to come up with 25%.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I see
Thank
that.
you.
I'll make the motion.
So we have
Already voted, yeah.
a second?
For the 25%?
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Request permission to solicit qualifications for the pre-procurement for engineering for FEMA and the HMGP grants. This is just to give us the authority to quote to the different engineering companies that would be able to do the design work for us.
I'll make the motion then.
Design work on what?
Pardon me?
On what?
The Texas Department of Emergency Management and FEMA Hazard Mitigation Assistant grants. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? No?
I'm reading a letter from September 4th, 2024 from Jessica.
Yeah.
Trying to understand a little bit of, you had it included in the packet.
Yes.
So this is really about all money coming in for April, and I guess if there's a block of money out there that could be applied to a lot of different damages that were done during the storms. So we're making applications to fix damages that were caused by rainwater or whatever. And
Most of the road work grants have been flood mitigation.
Yep. And we're just giving you the authority basically to engage.
Yes, sir.
To engage in those engineering studies.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, to seek out
And
qualifications.
Our
from
exposure is to the
pre-procurement.
cost of engineering from that's really our exposure as a cost is the engineering from the grant company.
Yes, but we don't have the grant yet, so there's no out-of-pocket expense until we have grant funds that,
Yeah, pre-procurement of engineering. So what I read that is that we're basically paying the grant company for the engineering to go get the grant. That's how I read it. That's what I'm trying to understand.
I don't think so.
The only out-of-pocket cost we're gonna have is our advertising in the paper, because we don't get the grant, they don't get paid.
Okay.
And then, if I'm understanding correctly, the engineering funding would come from the grant funding.
That's right.
Yes, we pay the engineering and the grant
It's typically a percentage of whatever the gross number was or is.
So
Do you
just,
have something to say?
yeah, just to be clear, so this is a proposal to actually go through the procurement process, right? That's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Just want
sir.
to make sure.
Pre-procurement of engineering.
This one is, I think April's the cutoff for this one, so we won't even do anything until after April of next year.
Is there a motion on the table regarding this action item?
No.
I so move that we grant the mayor permission to solicit qualifications for the pre-procurement of engineering for FEMA HMGP grant funding.
So that's not the procurement of that service, it's the pre-procurement, which would go with the grant, should we be awarded any monies. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I understand it now. Basically, we're committing the money we may get. So if we're successful in a grant, we're gonna pay them for the engineering work they did to get it.
Well, we're not allocating dollars right now. Once we get the grant, there's
That's
a,
correct. We're allocating future grant funds.
correct,
Yeah.
that we may
Yeah.
have or may not get. So if we don't get, then we don't have any engineering costs.
Understood. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Ma'am?
She didn't make a second.
Oh.
We got it.
Mr. Gregory, discussion on a memorandum of understanding with Polk County SPCA.
Well, the wording is a little misleading. I'm not asking council's approval to enter into a memorandum of understanding. I'm asking for council's approval to give me the authority to request an initial proposed memorandum of understanding from Polk County SPCA. And the way that would work is we as a council would let them know what our animal care needs are. This is by no means an animal control plan or department. They don't handle any aggressive animals. This is more for the scenario where we have mistreated animals, whether they be stray or owned by somebody. And so we would essentially, if we come to an agreement and actually enter into the memorandum of understanding, we would have Polk County SPCA basically on speed dial, and we wouldn't have to waste time and resources trying to find a place for abused animals. They have a memorandum of understanding with Alaska, and that memorandum of understanding with Alaska, it costs them $5,000 a year, and Polk County SPCA provides them with housing, transportation. In many cases, they provide food and additional services at no additional charge, such as mobile veterinarian services minus surgeries. So the way it works for Polk County SPCA and on Alaska is once or twice a year, Polk County SPCA will set up in a predetermined location and provide free vaccinations for the members of the community. So the city would advertise, say, hey, Polk County SPCA is going to be set up on thus and such day and time, bring your animals out, first come, first serve. So circling back to my request is I'm seeking official permission to request an initial memorandum of understanding to enter, to discuss establishing a program with the mindset of saving time, money, and potentially animals' lives, decreasing the animal nuisance, if you will, in the community.
So they came to the rescue for 7 dogs that were starving in Ivanhoe, and they took them into custody and did a very, very admirable job for us. I think Chief Drumm has already had conversation with them and has some sort of memorandum of agreement in play.
There's not a memorandum in place yet,
But
other
you-
than talking with
can
the
you-
director.
So I think that at a very minimum, you all need to coordinate together so that you're not duplicating efforts and stepping on each other's efforts.
So there's not a memorandum in place right now. I did talk to the director on this last case. The director was out. But on the previous case, I've had conversations with him, and he was going to get some numbers together and get them back to us to see if it would be feasible to do some type of memorandum. One of the issues that I think we're going to run into is their ability, and then at what capacity would we utilize them? Because we're not running an animal control service where dogs are out, we're picking them up and taking them over to Polk County SPCA. Because then I'd have officers gone all day long.
Well,
My conversation with the director is we would not have to transport these animals. They would provide transportation. They would come pick them up. They would provide kennels. All we would have to provide is somewhere out of the elements in the kennels that they provide. We give them a call. The longest we would hold them, per the executive director's word, is basically overnight,
So
and that's
I
if we
think
call
that, I
at the
think
end of the
that
day.
y'all need to take this offline
Yeah.
and get together, because this could drag out for quite
Sure.
a while.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll
I-
get with you, Justin.
Yeah, but I would still like to, yeah, okay.
I'm not opposed to it.
No, we'll take it offline.
No, I'm okay with entering into a memorandum of understanding with them, but I just think that you two need to get
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the chief was having the extent of conversation that he is having
Yeah.
or has had with
So
the director.
my understanding was that they would take animals from us if they have room. They have 65 kennels and it's full all the time.
Yes, but in cases where a memorandum of understanding is in place, an actual document and agreement, they make space in many different ways, and the chief and I will discuss that with the executive director. And
So how about this? Can I get a motion to allow Justin Gregory and the chief to research and entertain moving forward with a memorandum of understanding?
You won't need a motion for that.
I will not.
He can just do it.
You can just do it.
I think you just appoint them, Mayor, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
I can tell you, I think this is an issue that needs to be looked at by the city,
Sure.
and I think that we need to find a resource that can help us, and I think y'all done a good job of, I'm pleased that we have somebody, I don't know how far this facility is from here.
Justin's been working on it for a long, it's 30 miles.
It's 30 miles, so I
And he's
think it's
been working
great.
on it, he's been working on it a year.
And I think that, what I understand, I think the mayor can just give y'all the authority to go out and get this proposal and bring it to council.
I'd like to see a draft with an actual
Yeah.
number attached to it, because I don't know how our size compares to Onalaska. and
yeah,
what their cost would be.
that's why I
encourage-
say it's an initial memorandum.
Reach out
It's
to
a
them.
starting point. Basically, they propose this. And we as a council would review that, say, okay, well, what about adding this and subtracting this? We would tailor it to the community's needs, to the chief's needs, since he's the one out here handling it on a day-to-day. And at that point, we would resubmit that initial, or the revised, to Polk County SPCA. And in the event that they see fit and are in agreement, then we would bring it back before council for council approval to vote on entering that MOU with that organization.
So Mayor, I'm gonna encourage you as a council member to give these guys the authority to go rock and roll.
So let it be written, so let it be done. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Number 12, update the employee handbook. When we get towards the end of the year, this vacation, our PTO has been an issue for a while. When we get towards the end of the year, if the employees have not used their vacation, I'm proposing that we allow them to allow us to purchase 20 hours max of their vacation at the end of the year if they haven't used it. what happens is you get banged up against the end of the year and everybody wants off at the same time. It kills the road crew. We would be able to keep people working and they could coordinate vacations accordingly. So I would like a motion to adjust the employee handbook PTO policy to include the purchase of up to 20 hours of vacation time back from the employees. Any discussion on that?
What's our exposure on that? I mean, what do we think is that a $15,000 exposure at the end of the year?
No.
10,000?
No. Not even half that. I don't have a hard number.
I'm just thinking 20 hours and we have, what, 20 employees? 15?
No.
12 paid.
12.
This would also go to the police department as well as 12. Okay.
Well, the police department's already covered.
This
We
is,
have our PTO time, our vacation,
Yeah,
So, I
which
mean,
is under the same guidelines
Yeah.
that all city employees are.
yeah.
Our comp time is what's different when that's approved.
350 hours max times, 20, I'm just thinking it's $6,000, maybe that's $6,000, $7,000.
Well, it's in the budget already. They earned that time already. I mean, it's already budgeted for. The only difference is instead of them taking off and being paid, they're gonna get paid outright.
Well, they're gonna work and get paid and also get paid additional for the
Right.
buy of the thing. So it is an exposure of probably about $5,000 or $6,000, but that's not, I mean, I think we're fine with our budget with that, I think, but I was just curious, but I think that's probably about what it is. 12 employees, 20 hours, 50, maybe 5.
Have we had any type of communication with employee and department heads to see, get any kind of feedback from them?
This came from them.
Okay.
Then I'll make a motion to accept it.
You have a motion.
Carolyn motion.
One second.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discussion financial report.
You? Did you?
I'm good.
You didn't say it.
I know it.
You're not going to say it? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. That concludes our business for this evening. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
You don't want Haley to do the financial report?
Oh, I'm sorry. That concludes my business. That concludes my business. Haley, you're up. You're up. No, you're up. Apologies.
Okay, it's the end of your numbers, y'all need to do your own anyway. So all the financial documents and the statements were sent to council on October 13th, including the account and financial reports and the reconciliation details for each account. We're starting fiscal year 2025 off with the state comptroller direct depositing $6,710 on October 11th for sales and use taxes that were collected in August and reported to the comptroller in September. Last month, the sales tax deposit was $7,615. We ended 2024 with $94,486 in sales tax compared to 23. We ended $85,712. The budgeted income for sales tax collection for fiscal year 24 was $85,000. The budgeted income for sales tax in fiscal year 25 is $95,000. So we came out almost $10,000 over what we budgeted for sales tax, so we adjusted accordingly. The ad valorem taxes were received on October 1st, totaling $5,045, with $4,105 going to maintenance and operations and $940 for the interest and sinking fund. The calculated balance of delinquent taxes stands at $317,173 as of September 31st, which is the aggregate amount from 2010 to present. We didn't get any Ivanhoe North back taxes, so that little $10 check didn't come in. There was a principal and interest payment made in September of $105,387. The balance in the interest and sinking account is $20,789 as of September 31st, and will carry into fiscal year 25 in preparation for the interest-only payment in February of $23,787. Our tax class interest rates have dropped. They went from 5.2% to 4.8%. I did look and see what exactly they were basing their rates off. They don't they do drop with the market. They base everything off of the market, so I guess things are getting dropping a little bit, but we're at 4.8%, not a huge drop, but we will see an effect, on the bank accounts. As far as Citizen State Bank, there's nothing new to report with them. We received our annual Texas Municipal League statement on October 1st. In fiscal year, our payment was $30,976 compared to the amount due for this period being $31,216, but that's adjusted coverage. We lost a truck, a Tahoe, a Humvee, a boat was removed. I think there was a trailer that was on there that we didn't have anymore, and Chief's truck was added onto it.
And a tractor and a mower.
And a
right?
tractor and a mower, you're right. I knew there was other stuff, I couldn't remember what it was. So all in all, it's kind of balancing out. This year we did have to have an extra, coverage plan for our cybersecurity. It's not included anymore. So I think that was like $1,000 overall total. And there was, what was the other one? It was, workers' comp. So before the TML only covered 70% of workers' comp, and we have to cover, the city as itself has to cover 100%. So an extra $300 roughly at the beginning of the year gave us that extra 30% to cover. So now TML will cover 100% of workers' comp if something were to happen to an employee, and the city wouldn't have to come out of pocket for any of it. After reviewing the totals for the various departments, budgets are correct, the bank statements have been reconciled, and I do believe the September financials can be approved. Does anybody have any questions?
No, look good.
I think I covered everything.
Any discussion or comments, questions?
No?
I have a motion to approve the September financials. Second,
A second.
all in favor?
Nice.
You're gonna, motion carries. Now then, our business is concluded. We have a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
What a